Florida's black bear population was once considered a threatened species. Today, it is instead considered a threat, at least by some, which is why lawmakers are pushing a plan to allow property owners to shoot and kill bears in self-defense. I'm joined by Adam Sugalski, who has been working as a wildlife and bear defender since 2015. He's the founder and executive director of the advocacy group OneProtest. And to our listeners, what are your thoughts about killing black bears who come onto private property? Do you support or oppose the new bill? Give us a call at 904-549-2937 or email firstcoastconnect@wjct.org. You can also message us on Facebook, Instagram, or tag us on X at FCC On Air. Adam, what does this legislation specifically propose?
Well, thank you for having me on here this morning. And it's a very important topic. Stuff like this can get overlooked with everything going on in the world, but this is very important. So basically, what this would allow, it would remove all protections from black bears. So if one came in your property and you thought you're reasonably threatened, you could actually just shoot the bear with no repercussions, because in the past, if you did shoot a black bear, the FWC would come on investigation, ask you questions about it. Now it pretty much will be a free-for-all. You can say, well, I thought I was threatened, so I decided to shoot the bear. And that's pretty much what this bill will allow.
So individuals who shoot a bear would not be subject to any criminal or civil penalties as long as they believe that they face, quote, an imminent threat of death or seriously bodily injury to themselves or others.
Yes, or damaging property of their dwellings so that they can protect their home if there's being tore up, so they say, because what's happening is Jason Schoaf is quoting, saying,
Jason Schoaf.
He's the one promoting the HB 87. Basically, he's quoting, we have crack bears in Florida, he says, that are breaking into people's homes and tearing homes up, and you should defend yourself against these crack bears. And they're acting like we don't have laws already. We already have laws, stand your ground. You can protect yourself, family members, dogs, if a bear does threaten you. There was a case where an off-duty police officer shot a dog, and there was an investigation. He didn't get in trouble because he was protecting himself and his dog. So these laws already exist, so we don't understand why this is even happening.
Explain the crack bear reference. What is that all about?
He basically, in a meeting, he stated that we have crack bears in Florida, and they're coming in your home.
But I mean, crack is in cocaine? Is that what
That's what he says.
Explain that.
We don't know. We don't know why he even says that. It's just, I guess it's just, grandstanding to us, or making the Guardian came out with an article almost making fun of it, that there has been no documentation of bears ingesting crack in Florida. I mean, it would be funny if it wasn't so serious.
This is, I think, maybe also a reference to Cocaine Bear, which is that kind of, film that was made about a bear, fictionalized story about a bear that got into a bundle of cocaine.
And that's what we're assuming he's kind of referring that to kind of hype it up. So.
Mm-hmm. So what is the current status now? It was approved by the Senate on Wednesday, but then the House changed it a little bit.
They made some amendments to it, so it literally has one more round to go through. But the way the voting's been happening, it was 24-12 last time, 24 for, 12 against. We think it's gonna sail through. So we pretty much at this point we're thinking the governor is going to be the one to stop this.
So we got an email from Paul in St. John's. He says that for some people, the urge to kill anything they fear or the opportunity to kill anything they want to kill controls their life. We should not allow the indiscriminate killing of bears. Adam, how does this issue resonate with the general public?
Well, I think a lot of people, they most likely don't live in bear country, and I think a few facts that people need to realize is black bears are 80% vegetarians, and no one in the history of Florida has ever been killed by a black bear. So I think most people, don't have really any encounters with bears. They really don't know what it'd be like to run into a bear, but the people that do, a lot of them, they have no problem with them. They coexist with them. And I think that if you do move near the woods, you should have a certain responsibility to coexist with the environment and around you, as opposed to just shooting the bear. And a lot of the problems that's happening is because unsecured trash. So people are not putting their trash away, specifically in Franklin County where that's happening. And the FWC says that HBC is like a human bear conflict is a term they use. And if you put your trash away and secure it, bears will not come back. So you can eliminate so many interactions with bears that can be negative, like what's happening right now.
We're talking about killing black bears in self-defense. If you support or oppose it or just want to weigh in, you can give us a call at 904-549-2937, or you can email firstcoastconnect@wjct.org. We have a message from John on Facebook. He says, I can't believe this isn't already illegal. If your bodily harm is at risk, why wouldn't you be able to defend yourself against a bear when it's perfectly illegal to do the same against a human. And I think, Adam, what you were referencing earlier is that there is something known as the common law defense of
Yes.
necessity, and that allows you to kill wildlife that threatens you. So explain why this is different than that and why this would be a standalone right.
Well, what this does, like currently right now, we already do have laws. So it's already in the book. So this is a redundant law. But what this allows is you don't have any repercussions now. There is no investigation. The FWC will come and pick up the bear, but you can't sell the bear parts. And there are certain like stipulations like that. But it basically, we're calling it almost a backdoor bear hunt because in 2016, when the bear hunt was stopped, we had one in Florida in 2015, and it was stopped, and bear hunters have been chomping at the bit to have another hunt. And so, to us, this is just a backdoor bear hunt because now you can kill bears. I mean, you can say anything now. You could say, hey, I saw a bear on my property. I thought I was threatened. It kind of came at me and I wanted to shoot it. And they'll take your word for it. And then that's it. So that's kind of where it stands right now if this passes.
And so my understanding is that this common law that currently exists, the common law defense of necessity, is the standard is that a defendant reasonably believed that his or her action was necessary to avoid the imminent threat of death or bodily injury. The defendant didn't intentionally or recklessly place himself or her in a situation that would provoke an attack, and that there were no other means to avoid the threatened harm except for shooting. And the difference in that law is that it does allow for an investigation. If a shooting occurs, it allows law enforcement or FWC to come and look at the circumstances.
Yes. But if this happens, it will remove all those protections. So it becomes a free-for-all.
We have call Charles from Jacksonville Beach. Good morning. Welcome to First Coast Connect.
Charles, you there?
Hi, guys. Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Yes, this gentleman may have already answered these questions, but from my perspective, I would like bears to be protected. I would personally prefer that we don't have a hunting season to take out the bears. And he's already talked about several things that you don't necessarily have to have any new laws about. It's called the Tudor drill. That's anything that's within 21 feet can get to you in 1.5 seconds. And you generally have the opportunity to use self-defense to prevent serious bodily injury. So theoretically, we already have all the rules and everything we have and need in effect. A bear, whether it's a upset bad bear or Ted Bundy, if they're within 21 feet of you and they decide to cause you serious bodily injury, you can protect yourself. You can use whatever means are necessary to stop that event of serious bodily injury. So theoretically, we already have everything we need, and perhaps I just would like something in place to protect our bears.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Charles. Appreciate the call. Adam, it was actually the issue of killing black bears, hunting black bears, that got you involved in the issue in 2015. Remind us what happened that year and why you personally got involved in the issue.
Well, in 2015, the FWC had their first black bear hunt in over 20 years. So, our group, you could see that the FWC had not even finished their population count. It was going to have this hunt. And so we ended up staging I think it was an 18-city protest all around Florida at the same time, trying to get it stopped, which we knew we wouldn't stop it. So when the hunt happened, I went and documented bears being killed for 2 days. And they basically had to stop the hunt after a few days because the bears were coming in so quick, because all these bears in areas were eating deer feeders, they were baited, and they were just sitting there. They hadn't been hunted, so they weren't scared of the people in the area. So it was almost a free-for-all. FWC stopped the hunt after 2 days. And then in 2016, the FWC wanted to have another bear hunt. So our group staged a 28-city protest, and we went to all the meetings, we spoke, and the FWC called the hunt off due to public pressure, saying Floridians don't want to hunt, and it's not going to happen because Floridians spoke against it.
So the numbers at one time of black bears in the 70s, there was as few as 300 or 500 bears in the state, but the species was able to rebound. It no longer is considered a threatened species, and now there's over 4,000, I think, according to the most recent estimates, 4,000 bears. So they have not been protected with that threatened designation since 2012. The population has rebounded, but growth patterns in Florida have also changed.
Oh yeah, with the human population coming in, deforestation. These are issues a lot of times when you move bears out of neighborhoods. They go to look for food sources, and we always end up blaming the bear. We're not blaming people's actions, and then putting their trash away, putting the bird feeders, cleaning the grills off. Like we had the steps to change our behavior. The bears really don't. They want to come in for a free meal, and so it took 50 years for the bears to get here from a population from 3 to 500 to now over 4,000.
So we have a comment from Scott on Facebook. He says, bears, like deer, are game animals. I know of no other state that has the high bear population of Florida and doesn't allow hunting. Next, for 150 years, we never saw the bear conflicts we have now because bears were hunted, open up hunting, and these problems will disappear. How do you categorize the problem, Adam?
Well, the problem is, he's absolutely incorrect. The problem is humans are the ones who are misbehaving. It's the trash coming in the neighborhoods. You tear down the woods and you move your homes there, and you're next to a forest, and bears are coming. What do you expect? And bears have their way of regulating their own population called delayed implantation. So when a bear gets pregnant, the egg sits up in the uterine wall, and if there's not a lot of food sources, the bear might not even have a cub, or if it's abundant food sources, you might have 3 to 4. So bears can regulate their own populations. Deers cannot. Deers need predators to regulate their population. So you cannot compare a deer hunting season to a bear hunting season. They're completely different topics.
So you say black bears are usually non-aggressive and tolerant of human presence. I did not realize that there is no record of anyone ever being killed by a black bear.
In Florida.
In Florida.
Yes.
But they do cause some property damage. I wonder if you see that being inflated or perhaps just kind of more commonly understood to be a problem because of the presence of things like viral videos. There's a lot of people now who have Ring cameras that have kind of a night vision capability. And it seems like we're just generally seeing more videos of bears in a human setting.
Yeah, that you're absolutely right. Everyone. I have cameras around my house, the Ring cameras, and you probably are seeing more of this because those are generally available. And one thing on the FWC, even on their website, they have black bears will avoid confrontation 90% of the time, and that's from the FWC because they're shy animals. They don't want to interact. It's usually a startling situation, like it's in your garage getting a bag of dog food, and then you come out with your dog. The bear might have a cub nearby, and it tries to defend its cub, and that's where these situations occur.
So there are some recommended best practices, and I think that the Democrats in the state are kind of supporting this as opposed to the stand your ground proposal. It includes things like keeping your grills clear, making your trash less accessible, taking bird feeders out when bears are in season, kind of active, and not to leave pet food outside. Do people seem willing to make those kinds of changes in their personal lives to live more, peacefully with bear populations?
You see some neighborhoods are very responsible, and because you can get these bear straps for your trash can so the bears can't get in. And once the bear figures out it can't get in your trash can, it's going to leave it alone. It takes some time, but I think it's kind of an individual basis, but I think if you could implement these or the counties would do this, it would solve a lot of these problems. And we probably wouldn't even be here, if the people were taking responsibility and accountability for living near bears and doing things like securing trash.
I saw that in Volusia County, which had a spate of kind of bear-related incidents, they saw a 95% reduction in those after they introduced bear-resistant trash cans. And I want to ask you about that because most municipalities now provide trash receptacles to the people that they're picking, or whatever trash service provides those receptacles. How much more expensive would it be to have bear locks or those kinds of devices on there to prevent bears from getting into garbage?
They have bear straps. I'm not sure the exact cost, but a lot of times you can get them for free. Some places will give them away, but you can find bear-proof straps. So there are bear-proof trash cans, which are much more expensive than the straps because that can be, some people can't afford like a few $100 trash can, but they can afford maybe a $20 strap to put on their trash can.
Urban sprawl is a part of this issue, and it's not unique to black bears in terms of when populations grow into wild areas, and Florida still has a lot of them. There's going to be more encounters with wild creatures. Yes.
I do a lot of droning, and I drone deforestation, and you'd be shocked at the amount of habitat loss that we have in the state of Florida. And that the problem is the people in charge are not putting wildlife corridors in so that the animals cannot travel because there's really not one bear population in Florida. There's like a fractured bear population, I think up to even 7 because they're isolated. because of the road systems. So that's another big problem that we're not addressing from the top down solutions like, okay, put in wildlife corridors, and maybe leaving a little more forest set aside for the animals.
It's worth noting that while the bear population has also grown, as we noted, that Florida itself has grown from about 5 million residents in 1960 to more than 20 million today. And so, again, that is the growth pattern that you're describing.
Yeah, and there is a lot of bears being hit by cars. There's a lot of deaths by them during the year with all the construction coming in. So it's unfortunate. Hopefully these issues will get addressed at some point, because if we don't do something for the bears, and it's not even bears, it's all wildlife, because bears are like an umbrella species. So if you protect their habitat, you're protecting deer, you're protecting, fox. So all the other ones, because they need more space to exist.
Well, Adam, thank you so much for being here. We'll obviously continue to watch this issue. I don't believe that there's a set date yet for the Senate to rehear, but we will continue to follow it. So thanks for being here.
No problem. And thank you very much. And anyone can go to our website, beardefenders.org, and sign the petition and see how they can get involved.